Hi, my name is Ria Waller, and I'm your instructor for CIT82 Intro to Web Development in the Web Developer Program here at Fresno City College. I'm a full-time faculty. I'm also the lead faculty for this program, and I'm excited because I have redesigned this particular course to meet the ever-evolving technology area. So let's go ahead and take a look at the start content. Now, in this case, we are actually labeling this course something that you may not have heard. You may have heard of a compressed course. You may have heard of like a back nine and a front nine. You may have not heard of those courses, but sometimes there are courses offered that are normally taught in an 18-week course in a compressed course. So that means there's more content. It's going to come at you quicker. Staying on top of it is really important. In any class, this is true, but especially in a 9-week class. But we're using the term sprint because that's a term in the industry that is used a lot. Like you might be working on a team and they have a sprint to where they're focused on a particular feature or a particular website or something like that. So sprint is a term that's fairly commonly used in the industry, so I'm using it here. So this is a 9-week accelerated sprint course offered here at Fresno City in the spring 2026 semester, completely online. So just a word about the curriculum. Since I'm the lead faculty, I'm heading up a change to the program. So what is right now called web developer, by this time next year will have changed to AI skilled web developer. And what that means is we still want you to learn this key skill of knowing how to code, what goes into building HTML, CSS. Ultimately, you're taking other classes, JavaScript. So, but you then learn also how to leverage AI to make you both more marketable as an employee and productive, and to understand the new workflows that exist in this world. So it's not as if you only learn AI for this particular class because it's the first class in the program, and that's really you're at the starting line. And in this case, it's an industry aligned career path so that it is going to teach you some of HTML. And that's actually what you get here, little HTML, little CSS. You get to learn some prompting, how to do that. You'll learn Bootstrap, which is a framework. You'll grab a template. You'll build your project zero, and we will cover a lot of other topics. So this is that general introduction. Now, there's other courses that come after, and if you want to see what those are, you can look on this because we have an associate's degree and we have a certification of achievement. Now, if you want to talk about these, I'd love to chat about them with you. Now let's get back to the pace because this is an important part of what understanding coming in hopefully will help you set an intention to do. So that because it's a 9-week pace, all right, budgeting. Now I say here because this is kind of the standard budget for this type of 3-unit course in a 9-week format is about 10 to 12 hours. It will vary based on the student, right? I highly recommend working 4 to 5 days. Now you will see the way I've set up the course is there's going to be two due days a week, generally, unless it's a holiday falling on a Monday night and a Thursday night. The benefit of working ahead, which you will see in this content as well, is that if you work ahead and you need help, you can get it. And if you work ahead and submit and miss something, you can, because I grade every morning, unless something happens, that's my intention every morning, you can fix something if you're submitting it early, but that means you need to be at least a day ahead. So here's the other good news. There's no cost for the course materials. In this case, in this class, we're going to be using various course materials. We're going to be using Free Code Camp, which is a great site, curated YouTube content. You're going to be learning GitHub and how to set up a code space and ultimately how to do a local development environment. You're going to learn frameworks, like I said, Bootstrap. You'll learn some basic HTML. You'll move on to Bootstrap, and then you'll use a template for your Project Zero, which is I think about 25% of this course, which, by the way, if you want to see all those details, you could look over here. Matter of fact, that's one thing I'd probably do is open simple syllabus over here and then go through that, because that's the one thing. In this video, I'm not going to go through simple syllabus in detail. It would be my suggestion that you do that on your own. But if I wanted to answer that question I just brought up about how much Is Project Zero worth? It is indeed worth 25%. So check the simple syllabus out. Okay. Now, this course is sequential. So, what does that mean? Well, let me just back up to actually show you. If I was to click back on CIT82 at this point, one thing you can notice is that this item, right, you can't move on to the next, and you can't move on to week 1 and the further weeks until you complete the item that is currently due. So it's in sequence. And I'll show you in a minute how to submit this item, what you're going to need to do. But just know that in this class, if you get behind and you're trying to catch up, you still have to move through it in sequence. Okay? So let me come back into this just so you know when we talk about sequential, that's what that means. Okay? And then this is what I was talking about, is if you'll actually have to give me something for this, you'll have to submit something, which I'll show you in a minute. So the thing you're going to submit is a key piece of this course, which is GitHub. So GitHub is like basic skills for anybody coming into web development, and even non-web developers, software developers. Honestly, there's a lot of people who use GitHub, and you may have heard of it, but you can go to github.com and you're going to create an account. That's what you're going to need. And I will finish this video just showing you how to submit that username. So if you don't have one, you're going to create one. And then I will invite you into our GitHub organization. So what happens is there's this big site called GitHub. You create an account, you'll have a little piece of GitHub where you'll put your work. But for our class, we'll have another place that you'll actually end up putting both the work that you and I see and the work that you and everyone in the course sees. Okay? So that's the idea of the gatekeeper for this particular overview. So now beyond the code, so you are going to have a basic introduction to coding, right? But you're going to learn a framework for prompting, for writing prompts, actor input, and mission. Now there are several frameworks these days for doing this, but we'll also we'll teach you this, and then we'll actually use this in several assignments. I find it to be very helpful when I'm writing prompts. Then we'll talk about AI's impact on jobs, CEO, which is search engine optimization, still a really important thing even in the age of AI, because AI, if you don't know this, actually just reads what's on the web. And so having that good search for your site is important. Also, the other thing and I should have had it in here, was a little bit of introduction to e-commerce. And then soft skills. So these are just some of the other things beyond here, okay? So this is kind of what I was talking about before, 100% online, no campus visits required, but please come get help if you need it. That's the thing about a short-term class, is if you run into something technical, the sooner you get help, the better. There are tutors for this class. I do have a link here to the tutors. And of course, my office hour is really the best way to start, because I can help direct you if for some reason what you needed was beyond what I do, like if a technology issue or a network issue or something else. And the simple syllabus, which is what I brought up before, I definitely recommend you go through this. I've noticed that students that spend a bit of a time understanding the simple syllabus are ahead of the game about the course, but you can come through here and see that 2 weeks after we start, we're going to get spring break. It talks about how AI is used in the course, which is, I think, helpful. My communication plan. So, and how your attendance, how that's done. So I definitely recommend coming into simple syllabus and taking a look. Now, the one thing is we are in week 0, so this is intended that you look at before the actual start of the semester. I will have released this class at least 4 days before the start of the semester, so the sooner you look at this, the better. There is a mandatory week 1 attendance, and that's where you do an intro video. There's a whole how to do that. But just know that that is how, if students don't do that assignment, this is how I do what's called a drop from the course. So don't be in that situation. But if creating a video seems like too much, totally cool. Come and see me either because my office hours are both on Zoom and on campus. So anytime I have an office hour, I also have Zoom open. So if it's better for you to come into Zoom because you don't want to do that video, you'll need to come by Tuesday, right? So you must actually either do the video or attend a live session, one or the other. Failure to do these things could subject you to drop, so don't get in that situation. Okay, so this first item, this start here, actually is an assignment. So the thing you're going to give me is your GitHub username. Now, why do I need that? I need that because I invite you into our GitHub organization. So you are going to set up a free account. Now I'm probably already logged into GitHub and I should have logged out, but that's, oh, good, I'm not. Oh, good. So what you would do here is sign up, right, for GitHub. And if ever in the sign up, it asks you to pay for a pro account, don't do it. There is a way you can upgrade your educational account. Matter of fact, that's the benefit of, I think, using your campus email. But even if you use another email, you can still have you can have a classification of an educational account. The reason this becomes important, and I don't want to go too far here, but the reason this becomes important is that we're going to be using, most of you, because I'm going to suggest you use what's called CodeSpace for your development environment. And this is a slice of a computer that's actually set up from GitHub, and it gives you a certain amount of hours. But I've had very few students go over that hours, but I just kind of wanted to help you understand. But the key is you set up this account. So let me come back to that. You're going to set up an account on GitHub. And then in here, when you hit start assignment, it'll scroll down here and you can just tell me. And generally, it's better in here. And all you got to tell me is the username you've created. Okay. So, like my username is here. Your username will be whatever you've created. And then I use that to invite you. Okay. So important, important, important. And you won't be able to finish the assignment after attendance if you haven't submitted this GitHub username. And of course, there's a timing issue with this as well. Okay. So I know that's a lot, but I'm trying to keep. I'm not going to submit this because I don't need to. But I just want to give you an introduction to the course. I want to say I'm glad you're here. I'm excited for you to see the changes to this course for this semester. We happen to be at the time we're recording this also running 85, and I don't recommend them being taken at the same time, right? In general, but that is because the way this course is set up, it actually doesn't require a prerequisite except for I think CIT 15. So I at least hope you walk away from this video having at least how the course is organized, how to find some detail and more information from simple syllabus, that you need your GitHub username in order to get past this first assignment, okay? And then, by the way, just to show you here, the next assignment is if you want to join, and I encourage you to think about this, our Discord. This is a view only item, which means as soon as you view it, then it's going to open up week 1. And so in general, I keep 1 week forward in the course. So in other words, I have the week that we're in open and then possibly the next week, but I always have at least a week available for you to work on, because if I tell you that the benefits of working ahead, I want to give you that time to do it. I do accept late work. I do offer what's called late passes. All that stuff is listed in simple syllabus. So I'm glad you're here. I look forward to meeting you, and it's time to get started.